Hi there, I'm Olivia Cardenas-Trowers. I'm one of the members of the AUGS Publications Committee. I'm a urogynecologist at the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, Florida. And I have the pleasure of talking with Dr. Chris Tarnay today. Chris, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, Olivia. Thanks for having me. So yeah, I'm Chris Tarnay. I'm a urogynecologist out here at UCLA in Los Angeles. I direct the division here, and we have a great partnership with our urology colleagues here in Los Angeles as well.
Well, thank you for taking the time to chat with me. So, Chris, you were the chair of the writing group for the information and guidance on the adoption of surgical innovation and technology in urogynecology, a mouthful, but a very important document that was published earlier this year. So I have a few questions that I think will help the readers better understand why this document was written and what they can get out of it. So my first question is, what inspired the creation of this document?
Yeah, so you're right. It is quite a lot, but this was a long time in coming. This really started back in 2018 and 2019. I think the board and members have long identified some of the challenges that we face, particularly when we have to consider the adoption of new technology, innovation, particularly devices. I think this has always been an issue of we have people come into our office, reps or people with an idea, and if depending on where the product is along in its innovative state, it may be already approved to something that might be novel as a pilot. How do we responsibly introduce this and adopt this for patient care, and so that we can ensure both safety and quality? And to date, we have been sort of adopting and using sort of just ethical standards, but not really putting a position or a stake in the ground organizationally. And I thought this was the board thought it was important. And when they approached myself and Dr. Frazandi, we took on and we started a writing group back in 2019.
Excellent. So what can readers expect to take away, or what are the key things that you highlight in the document?
Well, I mean, I think the one of the to take a step back, we are the leading professional society for our subspecialty. I think domestically for sure, and I think many of us would like to say that we have an important role internationally as well. And one of the core tenets of our mission statement is really to enhance patient quality care through education, research, and advocacy. And part of that was actually to provide some tools to help our members do that. And in doing so, this position statement was really meant to do two things. It was meant to serve as a guideposts for our members. What should we do? How do we apply new tech? And some guardrails for our patients and other providers. And so with those two key pieces in mind, we went and looked through some of the existing data to try to figure out, where does AUGS stand on this? I think we have to be really clear-eyed about our history. We went through a very, not we, when I say we, industry, our patients, and certainly surgeons, went through real big challenges with the adoption of transvaginal mesh for prolapse. And it took about a decade to get through this in a sort of agonizing way. Learning about it, understanding that it was rife with more complications than we initially anticipated. And the whole goal of this document is really to help maybe position our society and our members better to face the next tech, which is surely on the horizon and we'll be faced with. So those were the sort of the key principles. We focused in and we used some predicate data. We had some other organizations, the Society of Gastrointestinal and Esophageal Surgery, SAGES. They had a document about 5 years ago identifying new techniques and technologies and how their surgeons and providers should adopt them. And even in the surgical literature, there was a Society of Universities. And they had also published, but nothing was quite extensive, and certainly nothing was particularly applied to urogynecologists in general. So we identified 4 areas. We identified patient advocacy, relationships with industry, post-marketing surveillance, and teaching and credentialing. And we thought these were sort of core tenets for how we would apply both guardrails and guideposts.
Thank you. So I love how that is tailored to our specialty, because you're right, we learned a lot from the mesh debacle, if you will. And I like that we are learning, or we're taking those lessons learned and, you know, hopefully preventing similar things happening in the future. So my last question is, so with this important document, were there any points of contention or controversy?
Well, I think historically we had a very heterogeneous group. We had folks who were really early in on adoption and folks who sort of wait. I think in general, we're a very curious bunch. I think we enjoy being on the cutting edge, particularly as reconstructive surgeons. I think what draw most people to the specialty is the sense of restoration. And a part of that is tailoring to the care. So I think device and innovation is a really important part of who we are and the fabric of what attracted us to the subspecialty. But we certainly had a heterogeneous history of going through the mesh adoption. And so I think we had to be really careful to create this as a forward-looking document, not a backward-looking document. And I think that was the first thing that we had to sort of come to terms with. We had a great writing group. We had some folks early in it. We had Jeff Cundiff and Renee Thacker 3 years ago at the combined meeting, really started to push the ground with some of their thoughts during their presidential address. And I think they were also thinking forward, and that sort of helped us direct our attention in that same fashion. So we wanted to not make this a, well, what did we do wrong? What we can do better? This was more, how do we approach the next thing that comes across in our office and across our specialty?
Absolutely. Well, I know we have just a few minutes left. Any takeaway or parting words that you'd like to share?
Well, yeah. So we're used to guidance documents, position statements. This is an opportunity for our organization to put a stake in the ground and say, this is what we believe in. This is what we stand for: ethical, safe practice. And I think as long as we use those core principles, and then you can use the document and hopefully apply segments to this, to what kind of a doctor you are and what kind of doctor you want to be. Do you want to be on the cutting edge? Do you want to be, you want to wait until further along? This document, I hope, will help provide a little bit of understanding and guidance for you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Chris, for your time, and thank you for contributing to this important document.
Well, it was my pleasure, not only doing this and working with a great group of people, but hopefully helping advance the cause of it. Thanks.
Thank you.